Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Dan Kasper Show's on the air. Radio dials, you got a couple of those. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. SportsTalk1051.com. Video stream up and rolling on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. How's everybody doing? Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. Hopefully, you had a good Easter weekend on top of that. Big thanks to all of you for making us a part of your start on this Monday morning of April 10th. What do we got on the good old game plan here for this morning? Well, we're going to talk some more Brewers. Brewers picking up another series win against the Cardinals this time. Got a win Friday night, shutout Saturday. Picked up another win yesterday to take the series. So, Brewers continuing to roll to begin their season. They now start a West Coast trip. They're going to be on the road quite a bit. The next time we're going to see them at home is going to be Friday, April 21st. So it's going to be a little bit, but they'll start their 3-game set against the Diamondbacks of Arizona tonight. 4 games against the Padres, then 3 games against Seattle. So you're gonna have quite a few late games. You're gonna have to stay up late to tune in and such. But and no off days here either for the Brewers. This is going to be straight up all games through, unless obviously weather or something like that. But nonetheless, we got to recap another good series from the Brew Crew. Now 7-2 on the year. Yesterday we saw Christian Yelich, pick up his first home run of the season. Willie Adames picked up another home run. Freddie Peralta looked darn good in his second start of the season, picking up his second win on the very early part of the season here too. So, lots to kind of catch up on. And you look at the bullpen again for the Brewers. And I know we talked a little bit about it last week, 2 times last week. And they've been stepping up, man. I mean, they've been pretty darn good. Pretty good. Brewers relievers. They are riding a 23 right now. They're on a 23 and a third inning scoreless streak, going back to the series finale at Wrigley Field. They have Major League Baseball's best bullpen ERA at .84, despite, according to Fangraphs, despite one of the league's lowest strikeout rates, 17.8%. So I want to ask you all a question to kind of get your minds rolling here this morning and get your input right away. Of the first 3 series now in the books, Cubbies, Mets, Cardinals, 9 games in, what has kind of maybe surprised you the most throughout these first 9 games of the season? Has it been the play of the bullpen, or has it been the offense? Now, I think I know where the majority is going to go. I think the majority of you are probably going to pick the offense because that's kind of been a question mark for a lot of people, maybe for the last couple of years, and maybe some frustration amongst Brewers fans too about maybe a lack of additions to some people out there with this offense, especially this offseason. But when you look at, again, you look at the numbers from these bullpen numbers, and you look at the guys that started off the year and are currently in the bullpen. We all know Devin Williams. We saw a little bit about Matt Bush last year, but still, some question marks around him, and really questions surrounding the entire bullpen. So when you look at the numbers from this bullpen that we just went through, and then you kind of see what the offense is doing right now. They're 10th in Major League Baseball in runs per game. They're top 5, top 10 in a lot of other statistics if you're kind of looking at the early parts of this season. So if you had to pick between the two, which one does surprise you a little bit more? I think if you asked national peeps, I think if you went out there and asked like the national analysts, I think they would pick the bullpen because remember throughout the off season, or I guess more so in spring training when we were looking at all these preview stuff, especially from like MLB.com and Fangraphs and such, and a lot of them kept saying, "Oh, Brewers offense numbers wise, not as bad as people are trying to make them out to be." When you were looking at it last year in a lot of different categories and such. So I think if you would ask, or if we would ask this question to maybe some of the national analysts out there, they'd probably pick the bullpen. But if I had to guess, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you all will prove me wrong here. But if I had to guess, I think the majority of our listeners, Brewers fans, might pick the offense here. But tell me why. Which one you would pick? Which one has surprised you in the first 9 games of the season with their play? The bullpen or the offense? All right. You can start to hit me up on some text if you'd like. 715-830-1912. Shootouts bullpen line. Hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPR, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, and then, of course, the video streams that are up and rolling. So we'll talk a little bit about these last 3 games. I want to throw a little Freddie Peralta chats in this too. And then, of course, previewing the game coming up tonight where we're going to see Wade Miley back on the mound for the Brew Crew. So plenty of Brewers talk coming up here. Bucks, dropping their last couple games here. They didn't play a lot of their main peeps. Losing yesterday to the Toronto Raptors. Regular season is now in the books. We don't know who the Bucks will be playing yet, obviously, because of the play-in. Remember, we don't know who they're going to be playing yet. So, but we do know the day they're going to be playing. They're going to be playing on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Time to be determined. Obviously, the opponent to be determined as well. But we do know that they're going to be playing on Sunday at some point here. No NBA games tonight. Play-in starts tomorrow, where you've got Atlanta. This is the 7th place versus the 8th place. Atlanta versus Miami. And then you got Minnesota, the T-Wolves, taking on the Lakers. And then Wednesday, we've got Chicago at Toronto, Oklahoma City at New Orleans. And then, obviously, depending on what happens with some wins and losses here, we'll find out who's playing. Now, remember, this is kind of how it kind of all plays out here. So, for the Eastern Conference, because obviously we're going to be paying a little attention to the Bucks here. You look at that Miami and Atlanta series, the 7 and 8 matchup, just kind of a refresher for everybody because it is a little different. So whoever wins between Miami and Atlanta, the winner will go up and play Boston. The loser of that game between Miami and Atlanta will play the winner between Toronto and Chicago. And then, yeah, it's kind of all over the place, to be honest with you. But, that winner of the Toronto and Chicago game will play the loser of the Miami and Atlanta game. And whoever goes through that, boom, go up to the Bucks. Right? Yeah. So, and then same for the Western Conference here. Minnesota wins. Minnesota's the 8th seed right now. If any Timberwolves fans are listening to us right now, but T-Wolves going up against LeBron James and the Lakers. A little drama with the T-Wolves yesterday too, with Rudy Gobert punching a teammate. The heck, dude! Frustration's boiling a little bit there for the T-Wolves. Yeah, not good. Not a good look at all. But that's kind of where everything stands. If you're looking at where the rest of the standings finished up, Boston 2, Philly 3 taking on Brooklyn, Cleveland 4 taking on the Knicks at 5. That's the Eastern Conference. Western Conference, Denver 1, Memphis 2, Sacramento 3 taking on Golden State 6. Talk about Sacramento probably the biggest surprise in the entire NBA this year. They get to the postseason, and yeah, they're the 3 seed, but they take on the defending NBA champions, Golden State, at the 6. Then you got Phoenix versus the Clippers, which should be an intriguing series. KD going up against Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, and all that good stuff there. So, yeah, but playoffs officially start tomorrow with the play-in. So, what else do we got on the docket? Jon Rahm wins the Masters, gets it done yesterday. Thankfully, they were able to get it all done by yesterday. Obviously, a little rain delay and that kind of pushed some things back. But Rahm gets it done after being down, entering the day yesterday. Brooks Koepka was in the lead. Brooks Koepka not having the greatest day yesterday. Jon Rahm taking advantage of that, wins the Masters. Phil Mickelson, second place in the Masters. Not a bad outing for them. Kind of wonder how many PGA Tour people may have been sweating a little bit yesterday. Kind of watching watching the leaderboard and such. You had Brooks Koepka up there, Phil Mickelson, Koepka and Mickelson, 2 Live Tour players, tied for second. Patrick Reed also tied for fourth. Jordan Spieth made a run yesterday. He finished tied for fourth at 7 under. But Jon Rahm getting it done yesterday. So, I want to talk a little bit about not just the Masters, but kind of golf overall right now. Tiger did make the cut. Tiger made the cut, but he ended up withdrawing due to an injury. I'm sure some of you probably saw the clip that was kind of all over on social, when it was during one of the rain rounds and looked like he was limping there pretty good. But he made the cut for the 23rd consecutive time at the Masters, tying Freddie Couples and Gary Player for the longest streak in tournament history. So he did get a little bit of help from his buddy Justin Thomas, because Woods needed Justin Thomas or another player to post a bogey down the stretch to move the cut line from 2 over to 3 over. So he got a little bit of help there. But the streak continues, I guess, if you want to take a look at it that way. So, but I want to chat a little bit of golf coming up here a little bit later on. Also, Studs and Duds, we'll hit that up at 8:05 this morning. So, Studs and Duds, if you want to send those on over, you can. We'll do a little Monday morning quarterbacking, and then a new segment coming at you every Mondays. We're going to call it the Weekend Hangover. What's something that stands out to you from the weekend? It could be a highlight, a positive highlight, could be a negative thing, or in the sports world, or something like that. But what's the weekend hangover for you? So you can let us know too on the socials for that. But let's get things rolling on the leadoff here this morning. Let's chat a little baseball here. Brewers continuing their fun start to the season, 7-2, picking up another series win against another division opponent. They got that series win against the Cubbies at the beginning of the year, swept the Mets, and then the Redbirds of St. Louis, taking 2 out of 3 against the Cards. Brewers now begin a long West Coast trip here. It'll be a little bit before we see the Brewers back in action, but when we do see them on April 21st, they're going to be at home for a little bit here as well, leading into May here. So, but recap and preview. So let's talk some baseball. Let's throw out that question for you all to kind of let me know your thoughts. What has surprised you the most with these first 9 games? Has it been the play of the bullpen? We went through the numbers. Pretty darn impressive. I mean, you're talking about some of the league's best. Or is it the offense, which I feel like the majority of our listeners will probably pick, but maybe I'll be proven wrong here. Start letting me know. Start hitting me up with some text, okay? All right, quick break, and we'll be back here in just a couple minutes with the leadoff to begin your Monday morning. Let's talk some baseball. We'll be back after these quick words. Big thanks to everybody, by the way, who stopped on over Friday when we were broadcasting live from Hy-Vee for the while we were doing a show there from Hy-Vee for a little Masters weekend there. And Carpet City Flooring Center's putting green over there. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see everybody attempting some putts, even a lot of kiddos getting involved in that, which was fantastic to see. But big thanks to Hy-Vee. Big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for not only building that custom putting green, but manning it as well. Matt and Ben, awesome guys over there. So anybody wondering, Carpet City Flooring Center will they'll be selecting or drawing the winners this week. So I'll reach out to them and have them let me know who the winners are so I can post it up as well and announce it on the air. But again, big thanks to everybody who stopped on by Friday. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun there. So also, right before we get to the leadoff, I want to give kind of I don't know what's the best way to say this, but everybody in Barron County with the awful news, tragic, awful, horrible news about the two fallen police officers in Barron County, Cameron and Chautauqua officers. Thoughts and prayers to everybody up in the area, families of the fallen too, and obviously the police departments too. So our thoughts are with you, and thoughts and prayers are with you. But just an awful situation up there this past weekend. So I wanted to make sure we noted that as well. So okay, let's get things going here this morning. Coming up, let's get the leadoff going right here. Brewers picking up another series win this weekend, this time against the St. Louis Cardinals. Yesterday, it was highlighted by a 6-1 victory. Freddie Peralta looking pretty sharp again, going 6 innings, giving up just 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts to pick up his second win of the season. Willie Adames went 3 for 4, including a home run and a double, 3 RBIs. Christian Yelich, 3 for 5, and picking up his first home run of the season. If you go back to Saturday here, Brewers were blanked in that game. Eric Lauer picking up the loss for the Brew Crew, his first loss of the season. Montgomery for the Cardinals picking up his second win of the season. And rewind it back to Friday where the Brewers shut out the Cardinals 4-0. Brandon Woodruff picking up his first win. But if you look at quality starts, another quality start for Brandon Woodruff. 5 1/3, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 0 earned runs in that game. So now the Brew Crew start that West Coast trip. They're going to be on the West Coast for quite a bit here, starting with Arizona. It's going to be a late game tonight, 8:40. Late game Tuesday, 8:40. Wednesday, 2:40. And they've got 4 games against the Padres. And then the Mariners right after that before finally returning home for a weekend series against the Boston Red Sox, which starts on April 21st. So, but the question that I kind of threw out there to y'all was, with these 9 games, what has kind of surprised you the most so far? Has it been the bullpen, which we kind of went through some of the numbers. I'll bring them back up here in just a second. Or has it been the offense from of this Milwaukee Brewers team? I put up a Twitter poll on my Twitter account in case anybody wants to vote on there. Otherwise, you can hit me up with a quick text. But here are just some of the numbers so far. Now, we don't know if this is obviously going to be a something that's going to be consistent throughout the whole season, right? We're just 9 games into this thing. We'll see how it all plays out. But first glimpse, a little over a week into the season, 9 games in here. Pretty darn good stuff, both from the bullpen and the offense. But from the bullpen side of things, looking at Adam McCulvey's article up here on Brewers.com, this is one line that he put in there. The Brewers bullpen, thought to be a potential weak spot going into the season, has arguably been their greatest strength, allowing runs in only one of Milwaukee's first 9 games. So the first 9 games, Only one game has the bullpen allowed any runs. Brewers relievers now hit the road riding a 23 and a third inning scoreless streak, going back to the series finale at Wrigley Field. They have Major League Baseball's best bullpen ERA at .84, and according to Fangraphs, despite the league's lowest strikeout rate. Counsel saying they're doing a heck of a job. They're sharing the load. They're pitching at different times when they have to. That's spelled a great start for them. So you look at those numbers, you look at the results so far, not bad. Offense, 10th right now in Major League, in all of Major League. We're looking at just the entire Major League Baseball, not just National League. 10th in Major League Baseball in runs per game. You're looking at some of the other statistics when it comes to this Brewers offense. You want to look at, let's say, batting average. Again, we know we're just like 9 games, 10 games for some teams in here into this thing. Brewers are 5th in batting average. Number 1 is actually the St. Louis Cardinals, but Brewers 5th, 276. On base percentage, Brewers are 2nd. Again, this is all across Major League Baseball. 2nd at 365. The only team higher than them, Tampa Bay Rays, who are off to a fantastic start to the season. Slugging percentage, Brewers 7th best, 442. OPS, Brewers 4th best, 808. Tampa Bay number 1 and a 967. How about total bases? Tampa Bay, no big surprise, number 1. Milwaukee, literally halfway, 15th. Home runs. Remember, this was a team who didn't hit any home runs in that opening weekend series against the Cubbies. 8th most in the entire majors at 12. They're tied with Baltimore right now. Tampa Bay doubling that, 24. Milwaukee is 7th in total RBIs. Again, Tampa Bay 74. Milwaukee coming in at 48. The other thing on here too, Milwaukee is in the top 5 in taking walks. Dodgers number 1 at 58. Milwaukee is at number 4 with 43. Strikeouts, they're halfway. They're 15th too. So those are just some other offense or batting numbers, batting statistics to kind of get over or to kind of pass along as well. So we went through that, got some of the numbers from the bullpen and such. I feel like the majority of our listeners will probably pick the offense as the biggest surprise so far. I feel like, again, if you ask the national analysts out there, or maybe some of the writers and people who cover the team, they may pick the bullpen as well. Adam McCalvy with that one line on there, calling it the biggest strength so far of this team. And honestly, I think the thing that's I'm going to agree with the bullpen pick. I know I might be in the minority with our listeners here, but outside of Devin Williams heading into this season, we didn't really know anybody else. We saw a little bit from Matt Bush last year, but again, was there anything to be really excited about? No. You got a Rule 5 draft pick into the bullpen, Gardner in there, and you got you probably recognize a couple of other names here, but it was a big old question mark. And I'm not saying the offense wasn't a big old question mark heading into this season either, but bullpen was like, okay, for me, I thought to begin the season, the bullpen might be a little shaky until we find out certain roles to see, okay, who's going to be a player that stands up, who's going to be a player that stands out and kind of, secures a spot, maybe being that setup guy, or maybe a guy that is going to be more of an early type of relief role as opposed to a late inning type of dude there. So I look at it, to me, if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking the bullpen. It's close. And I'm not trying to downplay anything at all from what we have seen with this Milwaukee Brewers offense, because they have been pretty darn special to begin the season. and obviously have surpassed expectations at the beginning part of the season. But for me, the thing that surprises me the most is the bullpen, because outside of Devin Williams, we didn't know anything of how this bullpen was going to play out. We didn't know anything. And there was probably even maybe just a little bit of question marks. Hey, could Devin Williams be a top flight closer? We saw a little bit of that last year where he had to be transitioned and thrown into that role after the Josh Hader trade. But for some, there might have been a little bit of like, okay, this is going to be the first time he's heading into the season as the full-on, full-time closer. Can he do it? So there was questions surrounding this entire bullpen right now. And you got to give them some credit. You got to give them some credit. They've been pitching pretty good right now. We just went through some of the numbers, some of the best in Major League Baseball. Again, I get it, 9-10 games in. But this is all that we have to work with right now. So for me, I think the thing that surprises me the most is the bullpen. Just because I didn't know what to expect from them. I didn't know a lot of these guys. Nobody knew a lot of these guys. Nobody knew roles outside of Devin Williams, for cry eye. So it's been a nice, pleasant surprise so far for me. And they've been getting it done. I mean, these guys have been coming in and, holding on to leads. We're not seeing these late inning collapses. We're not seeing leads get shrunk or getting taken away or blown opportunities, blown saves, or nothing like that. And it's a bunch of no-namers outside of Devin and the bullpen getting it done. In the offense, again, I'm not trying to disrespect them by any means. I'm not trying to throw shade on them at all, because they have been absolutely fantastic, and they've been a lot of fun to watch here too. I mean, last week we were talking about the youngsters and we were talking about the newbies. You look at this past weekend, Willie Adames having a couple good games there. Yelich getting off the home run schneid with his first dinger yesterday. And we were kind of wondering, okay, when these young guys, when these new guys, maybe when they go a little bit of a slow start or a little bit of slump, and not saying anybody has, but will these other guys, like the veterans, if you will, guys who've been around for a few years, will they be up to par at that time to kind of help fill in the gap or fill in when those new guys and younger guys are off on a little bit of a slump? And, well, this past weekend, Willie Adames had himself a weekend. Christian Yelich. And you look at some of these numbers from these guys. I mean, Brian Anderson, 9 games in, 370, OPS of 1.227. Garrett Mitchell, 286, but his OPS 1.047. Willie Adames, 344, 984 OPS. Bryce Terang, 304, 885 OPS. Joey Wiemer, 296, 868 OPS. And I know we said it last week, but the thing that I look at a guy like Bryce Terang again. In 9 games, he's played in all these games. 2 strikeouts. Excuse me, 4 strikeouts. 4 strikeouts. But that's compared to Yelich, who has 13. Brian Anderson, who's been like one of the league's hottest hitter, has 10. Garrett Mitchell also has 10. But Bryce Terang's just got 4. Just 4. Joey Wiemer's got 5 in 8 games. You would expect maybe some guys making their major league debuts, these youngsters kind of being a little nervous, maybe a little apprehensive up at the plate. No. Heck, even Jesse Winker. The DH, 308, 772 OPS, just 4 strikeouts. Jesse Winker hasn't even hit a home run yet. And this was a guy that I think, again, when we go to spring training and the off season and you read all these articles and these predictions, and a lot of them had Jesse Winker as a top candidate to be, like a bounce back player or expected to put up some decent offensive numbers and going back to what he was doing with the Cincinnati Reds. And I mean, he's getting on base and he's hitting the ball, but he's got a couple doubles, 8 total hits, 7 RBIs. I haven't seen the long ball yet from him, but he's getting it done in other ways. So, I mean, there's a lot to like about this team so far. And they've got, Arizona's coming in 6-4. I would say the pitching kind of lines up nicely for the Brewers in this series. You got Wade Miley, then you got Corbin Burnes, and then Brandon Woodruff. We'll see if Corbin Burnes needs to go up against a team like Arizona or such. Normally I would say like, hey, I wish we had Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff all slated to go up against the Padres here. And Brandon Woodruff has been off to a good start here too, but maybe Corbin just needs to start against a team like the Diamondbacks to kind of, like, all right, I just need one of those starts, kind of get my mojo right, kind of get in a rhythm here a little bit. Now let's go. But I mean, otherwise on paper, it's setting up for, I think, the Brewers to win another series here against Arizona. And then the early part, it's a big early 4-game matchup against the Padres. Now, if everything kind of plays out here, you'll have Eric Lauer getting to start on Thursday, which I'm sure makes a lot of Brewers fans probably a little bit nervous. Then you got Freddie Peralta on Friday. Freddie's maybe been their best starter through the first we'll see what Wade Miley does tonight, but through the first couple turns of the starting rotation, Freddie, I think you can make a case, has been probably their best starter. Then you're going to get, Wade Miley on there too against the Padres. So actually, let's see. So Miley, barring any injuries or anything like that. So Miley getting the start tonight. Corbin, Brandon, Lauer, Freddie, Miley. So it should set up that Burns is going to get the Sunday game against the Padres. In that fourth and final game. Now we got a schedule up here in the studio so I can kind of look at it and count that way. And then Seattle would be Brandon Woodruff, Lauer, and Freddie. All right. I like it. So with the start of the West Coast trip coming up here, 3 against Arizona, 4 against the Padres, 3 against the Mariners. That's 10 games on this West Coast trip. Give me some predictions on what you think. How many wins, how many W's do you think the Brew Crew will get on this West Coast swing against the Diamondbacks, against the Padres, and against the Mariners? And Padres and Mariners, remember, high expectations. Padres maybe a little bit more so than the Mariners at this point, and you look at the Mariners so far this season, they're 4-6 to start the year. Arizona's the opposite, 6-4 to start off. But give me a number. How many do you think? 7 out of 10 were the Brewers? Do the Brewers win all 3 of their series? Maybe they split against the Padres, take 2-2. What do you got? Give me some fun predictions. Get your Magic 8 balls out or something like that, and let's crystal balls out and get some predictions. Let's have some fun with this. So, but again, what has surprised you the most in the first 9 starts of the season? First 9 games of the season for the Brewers? Has it been that bullpen? We went through the numbers. Some of Major League's best, not just National League, Major League. Or has it been the offense? Again, I feel like the majority of our listeners are probably going to go with the offense, but I feel like if you ask people who, the writers or the national people, they may say the bullpen. But you pick. You let me know if you don't have Twitter and you can't vote on the Twitter poll there. Hit me up with a text or comment on the video stream, or find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Kasper Sports. We'll take a quick break here and then finish up the first hour coming up after these few words. Packers tailgate tour making their first stop tomorrow. Kicks off tomorrow. First stop here in Eau Claire at the Lismore to help benefit the Bolton Refuge House. I'll be there helping MC the event, so hopefully a lot of you will be over there. So I'll go into a fantastic cause with the Bolton Refuge House. So I believe there's still a few tickets left. You can get some at the door, as we were talking with Aaron on Friday. Otherwise, you can order them online too, pick them up at Will Call and such. But that's coming up tomorrow. Aaron Jones, Romeo Dobbs, Elton Jenkins, Eddie Lacy, HaHa Clinton Dix, Devon House, Mark Murphy and such. So it starts at 6 p.m. Doors open at 6 p.m. unless you got one of the VIP tickets, and you get to be there a little bit earlier and such. But 6 p. to, I think, is it about 7:30? Then they've got some auction items going on there too. So should be a lot of fun. All again, this is the main thing. Going to a fantastic cause, which is Bolton Refuge House. You can find more details by just going to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and then on the homepage there you'll see the icon for the Packers tailgate tour. So I'm sure that and hey, I guess something could probably maybe happen today or tomorrow at some point before then. But I'm sure that especially maybe Mark Murphy and maybe some of the current Packers were kind of hoping that resolution would have been done with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. But it is what it is right now. Joe Douglas, GM of the Jets, said the other day that I think he was at an event, saw it on social media somewhere, that he's going to be here. He is going to be here. I don't think anybody's disputing that fact. When Alan Lazard posted a picture of him and Rodgers working out and such, so nobody's disputing that. It's just, honestly, I think it's a game of chicken right now, and who's going to blink first? Who's going to blink first? That's what I feel like. I do think that there will be a big disappointment. That if I had to make a prediction on who I think is going to blink first, I feel like it's going to be Green Bay, to be honest with you, because for a couple of factors here. One, if they want draft picks for this year, I feel like they're going to want to make sure they get this done before the draft, which is in a couple weeks here. And then two, a lot of it's going to depend on if they want like the cap hit, the dead cap hit. I honestly feel like Green Bay is going to want to, or they're going to carry all the dead cap hit from Rodgers this year. I feel like that's going to be the case instead of splitting it up with that post-June thing. So, I mean, unless Green Bay doesn't care about the draft picks this year, then they can wait till the post-June first, and they can split up the cap hit if they wanted to. I mean, that's kind of where everything's at. So, but I feel like if Green Bay wants the draft picks for this year, they're going to be the ones that blinks first in this game of chicken. This little stare down that's going on right now. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of transpires here leading up and such. But we know one thing: Aaron won't be throwing to Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. In case you missed it last night, yesterday afternoon, he's going to the Baltimore Ravens, and he was supposed to. Odell Beckham Jr. was supposed to make a visit to the Jets, I believe, today. A little wine and dining, Odell Beckham Jr. But Baltimore swooping in and giving him a 1-year deal worth $15 million guaranteed. He's getting $15 guaranteed, but can reach up to $18 million. So a 1-year deal, which I think kind of caught some people by surprise yesterday because, I mean, Baltimore's got to figure out their own quarterback situation. The whole Lamar Jackson drama that's going on right now. But you kind of have to wonder now, are we going to get a Lamar Jackson resolution sometime soon now that they've locked up Odell Beckham Jr.? Because I feel like, well, first of all, I think Odell Beckham Jr.'s, that's a good chunk of change. Let's not kid ourselves. For a guy coming off an ACL and missed the entire year last year, guaranteed $15 million, that's a good chunk of change. And he gets it for 1 year so he can go out there and, maybe ball out and get another nice contract somewhere else. Or maybe it stays with Baltimore there. So I think obviously money was a driving factor in this whole thing, right? We can agree with that, most of us at least. But now, I mean, I don't think Lamar's going anywhere. Anybody else that? Unless I was kind of thinking, this ain't gonna happen. But how funny would it be if it's like, hey, Aaron, why don't you go to Baltimore now? Maybe trade up there and just sort of Odell Beckham Jr. and that over there. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen. But I was kind of having some fun thinking about that a little bit yesterday. But nonetheless, kind of surprised some people yesterday with Odell going to Baltimore. So, but I would have to imagine maybe this is kind of like a sign or like Baltimore's kind of like showing Lamar Jackson. I was like, hey, look, we gave you a new toy to come throw to. Odell Beckham Jr. For all the talk in the offseason, too, there's been some drama surrounding Baltimore and their usage of wide receivers and such. But remember, they got a new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, who likes to throw the football or at least spreads it out a little bit more. Remember some time with Tampa Bay and such. So adding Odell Beckham Jr. to that style of offense, I think is it's a perfect fit. Now it's got to make sure they lock down the Lamar Jackson, the quarterback situation over there. So, all right, coming up next hour here, we are going to do, we'll throw a little hoops talk in here. Not a whole lot to kind of recap. Bucks lost their last two, but again, they sat a lot of their guys. Nothing to play for. Everything was already clinched up. No chance for improvement or anything like that. So they sat a lot of their guys. We know the teams that are in the play-in. We got to get through that. We know the seeds for all the teams. The only thing we do know with the Bucks is the day they play, which is Sunday. Sunday at some point. We don't even know the time. We don't know the time and we don't know who they play, but we know they play on Sunday. So we'll kind of go through and kind of revisit how this whole thing's going to shake out or work out for this play-in tournament and who the Bucks could potentially play and such. So we'll hit that up. We'll talk a little golf as well. John Rahm wins the Masters. Tiger did make the cut. 23rd straight, was it 23 straight years making the cut? The Masters ties up with Gary Player and Freddie Couples. But we'll hit that up a little bit here as well. Your Monday morning quarterbacking. What's the biggest second guess or maybe the biggest question you have from the weekend or maybe the past week? Like, what the heck was that or what was going on there? We'll get to studs and duds coming up at about 8:05. And then new Monday segment, weekend hangover. What's something that kind of stands out to you from the weekend that you just kind of sitting in your brain, maybe a little rent free and that sort of thing. So it's kind of open ended. Could be, I guess, a good thing, bad thing, or negative thing in sports or something like that. So, but we already got one in. Let's get two more. Let's kick off the second hour here in just a few minutes. We'll do some sports nuggets of the day, and then I'm going to talk a little Masters, recapping that, and just the sport of golf in general. So we'll hit that up. Coming up after these news updates. All right, second hour kicking off on this Monday morning. Hopefully, you're all off to a fantastic start. Hopefully, you all had a good weekend and you are ready to hit up this brand new work week here. Coming up here in just a little bit, we'll talk some hoops. Not a whole lot to get to with the Bucks here because um, well, they rested a couple, pretty much all the main guys here, so they've well, they lost their last couple of games. I'm trying to think of a different way of putting this, but I can't. So they've lost their last couple of games here. So I mean, because they rested their guys, but nothing to play for. So it is what it is. Not a whole lot to kind of rehash with that. But we'll kind of go over some of the playoff potential scenarios here for the Bucks on who they could play and such. So we'll hit that up coming up here a little bit and kind of explain the whole play-in style tournament in case you kind of forgot or not familiar with it, even though it's been around for the last couple of years and such. So we'll get to that. We'll get back to some more Brewers chat as well. Brewers taking on the Diamondbacks. West Coast trip beginning tonight. Brewers 7-2 taking a series against the Cardinals this past weekend. We've got that Twitter poll up. What has surprised you the most? The bullpen, which is league leading in a lot of categories, haven't allowed a run since the opening series against the Cubbies. Was it 23 and a third? We said earlier 23 and a third innings without allowing a run so far, or has it been the offense? So we'll update you on those Twitter results coming up here in just a little bit. But first, let's start off with some sports nuggets of the day. Brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1916, the Professional Golfers Association, the PGA, held its first championship tournament. 1916. We've got 1947. The Brooklyn Dodgers announced that they had purchased the contract of Jackie Robinson from the Montreal Royals. Jackie Robinson was the first African American player of the modern era. That was this day in 1947. What else we got? So we got 1961. Gary Player, South Africa, became the first foreign golfer to win the Masters Golf Tournament. 2000. Ken Griffey Jr. became the youngest player in baseball history to reach 400 home runs. He was just 30 years old in 141 days. Probably one of the. I know we've mentioned this before, but easily probably one of the biggest what ifs. What ifs were what if Ken Griffey Jr. had stayed healthy throughout the majority part of his career? What would those numbers look like? Would he have the home run record? Or would he have broken at least Hank Aaron's, and who knows what would have happened with Barry Bonds? But, if Ken Griffey Jr. had stayed healthy for the, that frame, we all know it, right? That certain time frame when he was with the Reds there. If he had stayed healthy, what kind of numbers would he have put up? And maybe for some, I know some already do, but maybe more so for more people would consider him as the best baseball player of all time. Some already do. But if he were to stay healthy or would have stayed healthy, maybe others would have considered him the best baseball player of all time. Easily, for my time frame, the most talented or one of the most talented baseball players I got to watch hit the field. So those are your sports nuggets of the day. Again, brought to you by Ansay Associates. Masters. So we got them in. We got the whole tournament in. Got it done yesterday. It really looked iffy, didn't it? Somehow, I mean, they did have some rain delays and such. There was like some monsoon stretches, it seemed like. It was done Saturday and such, but they got it all in, finished it up yesterday. So thank you to the weather golf gods out there for at least parting the skies for a little bit to make sure they could get it in. But John Rahm, your Masters winner, entering the day yesterday. It was Brooks Koepka, but John Rahm getting it done. Koepka struggling a little bit there. He finished tied for second with another Live Tour player, Phil Mickelson, which it's uber impressive to see whatever your thoughts are on the whole Live Tour sort of thing. But Phil Mickelson, for his age, was he 52? and putting up 8 under, second place in the Masters. Pretty darn impressive. Pretty darn impressive. But nonetheless, Jon Rahm getting the victory. His second major championship. Already had a U.S. Open, but now he's got a Masters. Now he has a green jacket in his arsenal. And I was thinking about this yesterday. You know, when we asked for Masters picks from you all, and we had picks from all over the place. You know, Rory was probably the most popular one. Rory obviously struggled. But we had picks, we had different players all across the board. You had Rory, you had Jon Rahm, you had Justin Thomas, who was mine, didn't make the cut. You had Cameron Smith, you had maybe Morikawa, you had, Spieth. And I was thinking about this yesterday. And I think in terms of just like talent-wise, the sport of golf, taking away the whole dynamics between live and PGA, but just looking at the golfers that the sport has, talent-wise, I think it's in pretty darn good shape. Now, viewership, I don't know what the ratings are for the Masters. I haven't seen them yet. And we all know if Tiger's in contention, ratings are going to spike. We all know that. But from just a straight up talent and like parity standpoint, like any given tournament a guy can win. Yeah, we've had guys go through some stretches like Jon Rahm, right? He's been off to a fantastic start this year. Scotty Scheffler last year was off to a fantastic start that kind of, propelled him to a Masters win too. But you think about these names that we just mentioned. I didn't even mention like all of them. Brooks Koepka was, he won that Live Tour event right before the Masters too, and it looked like he was on his way to maybe winning the green jacket. But talent-wise, this sport has such a good group of talented players. I'm combining all of them for this argument because I think let's be real here. If you watch golf, and golf is an acquired taste to watch. Okay, it's an acquired taste. Let's be real here. I would say that there's probably a lot of us right now that prefer to play it than to watch it. There's not everybody who plays golf can sit and watch a day's worth or can sit and watch somebody play 18 holes. It's an acquired taste. And for some, or maybe a big chunk of fans out there, they only watch the Big Ten tournaments or the major championships, right? I mean, not a lot of fans are probably going to watch this weekend's tournament. Can you even name it? Probably not. You're paying attention to the main tournaments, the majors, that sort of thing. But it's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste. You have to be able to like just kind of plant your butt on the couch or the recliner and watch a guy play 18 holes or groups. And I mean, and the networks do a great job of going from one group to the other and kind of keeping the action flowing in there. But being real, it's not for everybody. But it wasn't that long ago. I mean, when I was a teen and that, it was Tiger versus the field. And you were probably picking Tiger. Or at least a big chunk of fans were probably picking Tiger. During his prime, during his heyday. If Tiger was in the tournament, Tiger was the odds-on favorite. And you look at the sport now. You could have Scotty Scheffler win it. You could have Justin Thomas winning it. You could have Rory winning it. You could have Spieth winning it. You could have Brooks Koepka winning it. You can have Jon Rahm winning it. I think the sport overall is just in a good spot talent-wise because they've got all that parity. That a different guy can go out there and win it. Like, there's not, in my opinion. I mean, you've got the world golf rankings and number one in there, but I would argue that there is not one golfer right now that is just head and shoulders above everybody else. There isn't that guy. There is nobody like Tiger when it was Tiger versus the field. There isn't. So I think that's good in an essence that you've got different guys that are in tension week in and week out. But viewership wise, TV ratings wise, do people get into that? Probably not, unless it's Tiger into the contention. Because Tiger was like, even if you weren't a diehard golf fan, yeah, you play once in a while, but you know who Tiger is. So you're going to tune in if you find out on your phone Tiger's in contention on a Sunday. Yeah, you're probably going to tune in a little bit, or at least a lot of people did. And right now there isn't that golfer that's like, ooh, John Rahm's making a run. I'm going to tune in. I'm going to turn in and tune in. Probably not to the same effect that Tiger has. And it makes sense. I mean, it's like that for a lot of the best of the best or the goats or whatever. And Tiger, I think, was also part of a generation, like I'm raising my hand right now, that really changed the sport. I've said it probably thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Tiger made it cool. Tiger made it cool. Tiger made it cool for a kid in a town of like 4,000 people to go out and play golf. That was me. Made it cool to do that. And if you're a kid, let's be real, when you're growing up, one of your main things that you're probably trying to do as a kid is to be cool. You're trying to, be, coolest kid, and you want to do stuff that's cool. Tiger made golf cool. It's like, it kind of was like, okay, yeah, I can do that. I'll try that. And while I think the sport of golf right now is in a good spot talent wise, they've got a lot of really, really talented, good golfers. If you're a diehard golf fan, you're probably like, I like this because we've got other guys that can win a tournament week in and week out that can win a major. I mean, we'll look at we when we did the Masters picks, it was like all over the place. But as far as like the ratings wise and like just that one guy that everybody's going to tune in on, we ain't to the Tiger effect yet. And I don't know if we'll ever get there. I don't know if there'll ever be another like Tiger that could just, set the ratings or set it apart. Like everybody's wondering who's going to be that next Tiger Woods. Remember, Jordan Spieth was supposed to be that next guy. It's always about like whenever we see some of the greatest in whatever sport it is, the next question, even while that player is still playing, it's like we have to ask, well, who's the next so-and-so? Who's the next LeBron? Who's the next Tom Brady? We do it with the draft coming up here. It's player comps. Well, he's the next Tom Brady. He's the next Aaron Rodgers. And we did that with golf. It was like, okay, who's going to be the next Tiger, or who's going to be the guy that can, contend with Tiger? LeBron and Jordan, et cetera, et cetera. Again, to, I guess, sum it up is I think talent-wise, golf's in a really good spot. Got a lot of really good golfers in this sport. A lot of guys that are going to be around for a while, too, regardless if it's PGA or Live or whatever. They're always going to be in contention and such, but I'll be curious to see what the ratings were like. I mean, you had Phil in contention on Sunday. I haven't seen it. I'm sure they're out. I haven't looked them up yet. You had Phil in contention, making a run. Spieth making a run. A couple big names. Rahm, a bigger name in the last couple years. Koepka. I mean, leaderboard had some big names up there, but were they as high as probably if Tiger was in contention? My guess would be no. All right, let's take a quick break. And then let's do a little Monday morning quarterback. We'll hit that up. And then I want to talk a little hoops. Okay, I want to talk a little hoops over there too. Kind of go over the playoff scenarios here for what to expect in these next few days. We don't know who the Bucks are going to be playing. We know the date. We just don't know the time either. We know the Bucks are going to be playing on Sunday. So who could they play? We'll kind of explain how this whole play-in tournament is going to work in case you're not Can't remember, not familiar with it. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll talk a little hoops here. Not a whole lot to talk about with the Bucks since they dropped their last two, but like hardly anybody played for the Bucks, which is to be expected. Beautiful weather this past weekend, and it looks like it's going to be even more spectacular in the next few days here, which means if you haven't gotten your grills out yet, what the heck you been waiting for? Yesterday, just kind of smelling the neighborhood, the block, and you could tell everybody was getting the grills out, some charcoal grills, some pellet grills, or whatever kind of grill. You could just smell it in the air, which means it's time to put on some brats from Mike's Star Market on there. Pick up some Dan Good Burgers over at Hy-Vee as well. It's grilling season, baby. So let's get over to Mike's Star Market. Pick up some of those brats that we got with them. It's the dill pickle, cheddar, and bacon ones, the Man Cave Light brats. Going to help Backyard Dreams as well. Head over to Hy-Vee, pick up those Dan Good Burgers. If you've never tried them yet before, what the heck? It's got cheese curds, it's got ranch, it's got bacon in it, for crying out loud. It's getting to be that time where like every meal is cooked up on a grill. I love it. Love the smell of a grill. So load up the deep freezers. Go get your brats from Mike's Star Market, or they're available at Hy-Vee now as well. But get those brats from Mike's Star Market. You're helping out Backyard Dreams, and get yourself some damn good burgers over there too. All right, let's do a little Monday morning quarterbacking. So we all know what a Monday morning quarterback is, right? You're second guessing. You're trying to figure out what the heck, what was that all about? Or what was that play? Or what was that decision? Or what is he doing there? I don't think there's, I mean, you probably could maybe find something from the Masters or golf or one of the baseball games and such. But I'm going Rudy Gobert with the Minnesota Timberwolves here. So yesterday, probably saw the clip, but Rudy Gobert throwing a punch at one of his teammates. And obviously there was some frustration and such. But we'll see if there's a suspension and that sort of thing. But Rudy Gobert was sent home afterwards as well. Gobert and Anderson were arguing. You can see the clip. They were arguing. Kyle Anderson were arguing in the second quarter, and apparently some people were saying the verbiage, including Anderson telling Gobert to block some shots, and Gobert telling Anderson to grab a blanking rebound. But then, some words that apparently were said that I can't say. Otherwise, I'll get fired and such, or fined. But reading a little bit here from ESPN, it said sources said Gobert lost his temper and fired a punch into Anderson's chest after Anderson told him to shut the blank. And that's what set Rudy off, apparently, according to a source. And obviously, if you haven't seen the video, it escalated into Gobert stepping past coaches and teammates to throw a punch that landed into Anderson's chest. The two players continued the little back and forth verbiage, back and forth at halftime, sources said, but nothing became physical again. Now, Rudy Gobert did tweet an apology to the teams, fans, and Anderson after the game, saying Anderson is someone that I truly love and respect as a teammate. He said, emotions got the best of me today. I should not have reacted the way I did, regardless of what was said. I want to apologize to the fans, the organization, and particularly to Kyle, who is someone, again, that I truly love and respect as a teammate. So, dude, I mean, I get it. You look at this Timberwolves team, and I know we've got some T-Wolves fans who listen, but it's obviously just what they're in the play-in. They're going up against the Lakers in the play-in. But I think there was a lot of excitement and enthusiasm surrounding this team. They made that. I mean, they spent a lot. They sent over a ton to bring Rudy over from Utah. I mean, you had Karl Anthony Towns. At that point, you had D'Angelo Russell, but you got Anthony Edwards over there too. There was some excitement for this team to maybe take another step this year. And obviously, hasn't played out that way. Now, maybe they could go on a little bit of run to playoffs. Who knows? We'll see what happens and such. But nonetheless, it has been very disappointing, I think, for Bucks fans and for that entire team. But come on, as all the frustrations goes, I've been for both of them, for Anderson and Rudy. Come on, guys, we get it. It's been a frustrating year. It's been a frustrating season. Can't do that on the bench. Can't do that amongst teammates. Has an effect with your other teammates too. So come on, dude. Or I should say, come on, guys. Can't happen. So that's my little MMQB for this morning. So how does this whole thing work for the play-in? Well, let's kind of rehash it here a little bit. So we know the seeds. We know who's what. Let's start with the Eastern Conference. Bucks, we know, are the 1 seed. We got Boston as a 2 seed, Philly as a 3, Cleveland as the 4, the Knicks as the 5. Then we got Brooklyn as the 6, Miami is 7, Atlanta is 8, Toronto's 9, Chicago's 10. But with the play-in, Miami as a 7 will face Atlanta as the 8th. Toronto, the 9th, faces Chicago, the 10th seed. Philly as a 3 seed faces the 6 seeded Brooklyn Nets. We already know that. Cleveland, the 4 seed, plays the 5th seeded New York Knicks. We already know that. So this is how it's going to work out. Miami and Atlanta. The winner of that game will go on to face Boston. The loser of the Miami and Atlanta game will go on to play the winner of the Toronto and Chicago game. So the winner of the 9-10 matchup, Toronto and Chicago, will play the loser of the Miami and Atlanta game. And then whoever comes out of that, that's who the Bucks play. That's who the Bucks will play there. So same for the Western Conference here. Number 1 seed is Denver. 2 seed is Memphis. 3 seed is Sacramento. 4 seed is Phoenix. 5 seed is the Clippers. 6 seed is Golden State. 7 is the Lakers. 8 is the T-Wolves. 9 is the Pelicans. 10, OKC. Who you got? Now we can do some playoff predictions here. Who you got? Who you got in this thing? I'm gonna go. Let's start with the West. Okay, we're gonna go game by game here. I'll start with the Western Conference. So let's start with the play-ins. Sorry, T-Wolves. There's just too much going on right now. Now you add into this thing, they're gonna lose to the Lakers. So Lakers move on. They'll face Memphis. T-Wolves. They will go up against either the Pelicans of New Orleans or OKC. I'm going to pick OKC to kind of upset New Orleans in this game. So I'll go Oklahoma City, which means Oklahoma City and the T-Wolves will play. You know what? I'll give the T-Wolves a win in that one. So T-Wolves will go on to play Denver. Denver moves on. Phoenix and Clippers. The Phoenix Suns versus the Los Angeles Clippers, to me, might be the most intriguing first-round matchup in the NBA playoffs. KD, Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook. Clippers were like maybe the most, or at least one of the most popular picks. If we go back to before the season started in, what was it, October? Clippers were like one of the top teams or most picked teams to go to the NBA Finals and even win it this year. So you could put them in on as maybe a little bit of a disappointing team this year too, even though they are the 5 seed. I am going to go Phoenix in this one. I'm going to go Phoenix. Sacramento now. Sacramento is a 3 seed. Biggest surprise in the entire NBA this year. And their reward is the 3 seed in the Western Conference going up against the defending NBA champion, Golden State Warriors. I think I'm going to go Warriors in this one. I think Sacramento is going to be motivated. I think, was it a couple weeks ago? There was that thing that, was it Mike Brown? Mike Brown spent a lot of time with the Warriors too, being an assistant with Steve Kerr and that staff over there. So he's very familiar with them, but I might go a little veteran, going with the veteran experience in this one. But Sacramento's going to be motivated. And I know Sacramento was it. What I was going to say there was a couple weeks ago, they were using it as a rallying cry. Like, there was this narrative out there that teams wanted to face Sacramento in the postseason and such. So they're using it as motivation. I mean, I could see Sacramento coming out right away and maybe taking game one, but I'm going to go with the veteran squad of Golden State to win this one. They move on. And then Memphis versus the Lakers. Memphis versus the Lakers. I'm a little pause. I'm giving a little bit of a pause because, I mean, you look at the Lakers, they should be better than a 7 seed. Let's be real. They should be way better than a 7 seed. They should have been the last couple of years here. But I'm gonna go Memphis, I think. I'm gonna go Memphis in this thing. So okay, so I've got yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go with those and then Denver versus Phoenix. Oof. I'm gonna go Phoenix. 4 seed upsetting the 1. You know what? I'm just gonna do the first rounds here. I'm gonna cop out. No, come on, man up, Dan. I'm gonna go Phoenix coming out. You know what? I'm gonna go Phoenix throughout the West. I'm not gonna draw this thing out. I'm gonna go Phoenix coming out of the West. I just think now with KD on the team, Booker, Paul, DeAndre, they're gonna come out of the West. That's yeah. I would probably say Phoenix versus Memphis in an Eastern or Western Conference Finals matchup, but I'm gonna go Phoenix. All right, let's move to the Eastern Conference. So Bucks, I think the way this is going to play out, I think they are going to go up against. Well, I think Miami's going to beat Atlanta, so Atlanta's going to move on, or excuse me, Miami's going to move on to play Boston in the first round. So that means Atlanta then will play the winner of Toronto versus Chicago. I think Chicago's going to get that win. So we've got an Atlanta versus Chicago, but I'm going to go Atlanta then. So I'll go Bucks over Atlanta. I'm going to go Cleveland over the Knicks, Boston over Miami, Philly over Brooklyn. Then we've got Milwaukee over Cleveland, Boston over Philly, but that's going to go 7. And then I'm going to go Milwaukee over Boston in 7. We got a rematch in the NBA Finals from a couple years ago. Milwaukee versus Phoenix. And I'm going to go Milwaukee in 7. I'm going to go Milwaukee in 7 over the Phoenix Suns in a rematch from just a couple of years ago. Book it. Bet G-Man's 401k on that thing. There's a couple. There was a couple of these matchups when the more I kept looking at it, I started to get a little second pause on that thing. Like, I don't know. Like Memphis and the Lakers one kind of gave me a little bit of pause there. And then Memphis versus Golden State. Yeah, like Golden State as a team, like I feel like I can really see Golden State making a run to the Western Conference Finals. I think they could do that. And wouldn't it be something if it was like Golden State versus Phoenix with the whole KD situation? Remember, KD hasn't even played in Golden State yet since he left Golden State. He hasn't done that. Always something has come up or an injury or something like that. Like Golden State is like one of those teams that I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, in the Western Conference if it's the 4 seed or the 6 seed making a run there. Clippers too. I mean, the Clippers got to be like, dudes. They probably wish they would have had the 6 seed, to be honest with you, so they can go up against Sacramento. Eastern Conference, though, I think it's pretty much all chalk. I think it's going to be all chalk going through. Bucks, Celtics in the end in the Eastern Conference Finals. Bucks take it in 7. Bucks win the whole thing. Deepest team in the league. A lot's going to depend on Chris Middleton's health in this whole thing. No doubt about it. I think they can win it without Chris Middleton. It's going to be it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. Other guys are going to have to really step it up. I'm looking at a guy like Jay Crowder. You know, that's why you make the move at the deadline to bring in a guy like Jay Crowder to step in for moments like this. Quickly, an update on Middleton. Middleton had an MRI, according to The Athletic. Had an MRI on that knee, and it came back clean. He is expected to rehab for the next week or so in hopes of being ready for the start of the playoffs. So it sounds like it's good news. Obviously, he's gotten some rest these last couple of games. They don't have to play until Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to even sit him out the first couple of games and see how the series goes. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Middleton maybe until the second round, just to be extra cautious for him. Or they might go the route of how they kind of started the season with Chris Middleton, a few minutes, maybe coming off the bench, playing a little bit there, and then ramping it up. The deeper they get in the postseason, the closer they get to the NBA Finals. But cross your fingers, knock on wood. Chris Middleton should be, we're going to see him at some point in the postseason. Sure sounds like it. Your picks for the NBA playoffs. Now that the regular season is in the books, now that seeds are set, we got the play-in starting tomorrow. No games today. Play-in starts tomorrow. Who you got? Who you got in the NBA Finals? I'm going to roll with Milwaukee versus Phoenix, a rematch from a couple of years ago. And I feel like if it does get to that, I almost feel like a lot of people are going to pick Phoenix because of the KD factor. If everybody's healthy and such, I feel like a lot of the national people are going to pick KD or pick the Suns in this situation because of the KD factor. But I'm rolling with the Bucks. Deepest team. The mojo's going with them. The chemistry is there. Drew Holiday's having one of his best seasons of his career. Brook Lopez has turned back the clock. He's having one of the best seasons of his career. Giannis is doing his thing. Middleton, when he's been healthy and on the court, he's been solid. Carter has been a nice little presence coming off the bench. He's getting extended playing time. Bobby Portis should be talked more about as sixth man of the year. So I'm going Bucks in 7 against Phoenix. Yours, you can hit me up with a text. Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to finish up this second hour. We'll be back. Turkey season is almost upon us. So have you headed to Tilden Gun yet to maybe get that new turkey shotgun or maybe get any last minute supplies and such? Well, you better do so. Or what are you doing with your tax return this year? Have you decided what you're doing? Maybe spend a little bit on yourself and head on over to our good friends over at Tilden Gun and upgrade, whether it's that turkey shotgun or maybe it's a deer rifle or maybe you're looking for a new handgun or such. But Tilden Gun, family owned, locally owned, and family operated. Trying to spit it out here. But head on over there, maybe with your tax return, or maybe if you're looking for that new turkey shotgun for the spring turkey hunting season this year, see what they got. And don't forget to send over your pictures if you've had any luck so we can put it up on our Tilden Gun trophy board. Available at our website, sportstalk1051.com. Going through a couple of texts, the biggest surprise is easily the bullpen. Everybody else will probably say the offense, but when you look at what the bullpen has done and the streak that they are on without allowing a single run with a bunch of no-namers, how is that not the most impressive thing through the first 9 games? Another pick here saying the bullpen, although just slightly above the offense, I give it more so the bullpen because can anybody else name more than maybe 2 guys in this bullpen? It's been super impressive. We got another pick for the bullpen. Okay, maybe this is going a little bit more than I thought. I thought the majority would go offense, but at least the vocal ones right now going with the bullpen. Another text here on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line saying, given the slight edge to the bullpen just because we had no idea how this thing was going to shake out. Besides Devin Williams being the closer, they have been very impressive, not allowing a run during that stretch of 23 plus innings so far. We do have a couple here for the offense. I'm saying the offense. They lost so many games last year where they only scored 0-1, maybe 2 runs. Had you told me last year that they would go 27-5 over 3 games this year, with 2 of them being shut out, I would have laughed out loud. Biggest surprise is probably the offense for me. Corbin Burns struggles in the first couple starts is also pretty surprising. Well, we'll just keep it to the bullpen and the offense. Good surprises right now is what we're kind of referring to. Another text here. I'm going to go with the bullpen, kind of like what you were saying earlier. Can you name anybody else besides Devin Williams or maybe Matt Bush? Not many people could. And with all the big unknowns heading into this year with the bullpen, their run right now has been pretty impressive. Another text here. This one's from Adam. Don't forget, put your names on these texts too, so I can give you a name attached to it. This one is from Adam in Chippewa Falls, saying, I'm going to go with the offense slightly over the bullpen just because, well, it's been the offense for the last couple of years. To see them actually put up some runs this year has been a nice boost so far for this team. We got one Travis from Fall Creek. I'm assuming that's what FC means, Fall Creek. Otherwise, I'll just say Travis from FC. Travis from FC is also going with the offense. We asked a little bit earlier in the first hour, what has been the most surprising thing for you with this Brewers start to the season? 9 games into the season so far. Has it been the offense? We went through some of the numbers, top 5, top 10, and a lot of statistics in terms of the offense. When you look at the bullpen, though, a couple of nuggets here with this bullpen. As Adam McCulvey said from Brewers.com, the Brewers bullpen, thought to be a potential weak spot going into the season, has arguably been their greatest strength, allowing runs in only 1 of Milwaukee's first 9 games. Brewers relievers now hit the road riding a 23 1/3 inning scoreless streak, going back to the series finale at Wrigley Field. They have Major League Baseball's best bullpen ERA at 0.84. 0.84. So, for those of you who haven't voted or chimed in, let us know. I got the Twitter poll up on Twitter. I'll check it out. Probably just past the top of the hour here. But you can vote on Twitter at DANKASPER. Hit me up on the video stream with a comment if you'd like, or on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with a quick text, 715-830-1912. I'd say just based off the text, I don't know what the Twitter poll looks like right off the top of my head because I don't have it up. But I would say based off text, pretty close to 50-50. 50-50, which, again, I thought majority would probably go with the offense, listener-wise. But we'll see what the Twitter poll has to say after that. All right, coming up in just a few minutes here, we'll kick off the 8 o'clock hour with some studs and duds. Studs and duds. So if you want to play along and send over your studs and duds, you can do so. Then we'll get to a little weekend hangover. What's one thing from the weekend that's just kind of hanging around in your head? What's one thing that's kind of stands out to you from the weekend? I guess it could be a positive or a negative sort of thing, or what's the moment from the weekend or whatever have you. Kind of open ended. I just want to hear from you. I love hearing your texts and your comments and reading your messages. So send those babies on over. Okay? Your weekend hangover. We'll get back to some more baseball talk too. Brewers hitting the road for a long West Coast trip. Next time we're going to see the Brewers at home is going to be Friday, April 21st as they take on the Boston Red Sox. But the Brew Crew, 7-2 in the first 9 games of the season, picking up another series win, this time against the Cardinals. So we'll hit that up. Maybe we get back to a little bit more hoop talk. I am taking your playoff predictions since the playoffs officially start tomorrow with the play-in. Do you have the Bucks going to the finals? Do you have them winning the finals? If not, who do you have? What's your matchup? All right, let me know. Hit me up, okay? Bucks going to get another championship this year, second one in 3 years. I've got Bucks taking on Phoenix again, and I got Bucks in 7 against the Suns. How about the rest of you? Let me know, okay? So we'll get to that probably at some point in the final hour as well. So we'll take a look at that too. But also, kind of want to know too. Now that we are where we at in this, we're April 10th here. So the draft will be 2 weeks from this Thursday. 2 weeks from this Thursday. Now that we've got about a week and change into the baseball season, the NBA is going to be starting up their postseason. Masters in the books. At what point do you start to really get into the draft? I'm sure some of you already are for the NFL draft, but is it about 2 weeks? Is it about a week? When do you start to really get into it? Or maybe when do you start to really look at mocks and player visits? I'm sure a lot of us have already kind of looked at them and such, but when do you really start to, you know what I mean? Like really get involved in it, like really get into it. I think now that the Masters is over with and baseball season started, we got NBA playoffs coming up here. Now I think it's really going to kick into gear for me. But what about you? Let me know. All right, quick news updates. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, final hour on this Monday morning. Shout out to all of you for tuning in. Big thanks for checking us out. However, you're checking us out, if it's on the air, on your radio dials at 105.1 FM, 790 AM, sportstalk1051.com, video stream up on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week. Again, big thanks to everybody that stopped on out Friday at Hy-Vee. We did the show over there for the Carpet City Flooring Center putting challenge. I can't thank Carpet City Flooring Center enough for building that amazing putting green, the custom putting green over there. I know a lot of you asked where that thing is going to go after this thing. I have no idea. That's up to Carpet City Flooring Center and the group over there, but huge thanks. We might have to see if we could get them to bring it out to the Casper Classic or something like that and do some putting contests out there or something like that. But I can't thank them enough. And Matt and Ben for manning it and for the crew helping set it up. A lot of kids participating in the putting challenge too. So big thanks to the parents for letting your kiddos. I think we probably, for all the adults, I think we probably had half as many little ones trying it too, which was really cool to see. So big thanks to everybody for stopping by and trying the putting challenge and such. So again, thanks to Hy-Vee and Carpet City Flooring Center. I know Carpet City Flooring Center, they're going to be drawing the winners this week. So I will reach out to them and see if they can let me know who also won, so that we can announce it on here too, and we'll post it up on the socials and such. Anybody who wins the putter, I will be extremely jealous. I'll just say I'll be extremely jealous. I want a new putter. That putter felt good. First putt, hole in one for me. I would love that putter. I'm not eligible to win, but if anybody would like to donate, I'm just saying, okay, shooting my shot there. But got the Odyssey putter, got the Callaway driver, and I know Hy-Vee also donated some gift cards and such too. So big thank you to everybody who stopped on by. Let's do. We got a couple texts. Big Worm, the ham hangover. I can't tell you the amount of ham I consumed this week, and Captain Stomach has its check engine light on. That's a good one. Surveyor, also big thanks to Surveyor for loaning us his left-handed putter. The cool thing, Travis from the Honorable Travis from A-Town also had a Packers putter he brought over, but Surveyor's was a left-handed Packers one that he let other people use, just in case there was any other lefties over there. So big thanks to Sam. But Travis also had the same Packers one there too, so it was cool. But Surveyor, anyway, saying, morning DK, my little brother is already talking about buying finals tickets at $500 a piece. So he's heavily invested in the Bucks to the finals. I'm saying Bucks versus Denver, with Bucks winning in 6. All right, I like it. Let's do some studs and duds. If you want to play along with us, send us your studs and duds. All right, so I've got a few more studs than duds than I do here this morning. So I'll start it off with the studs. Mentioned them a little bit earlier, but you got to put the Tampa Bay Rays on this thing. I mean, their start to the season so far, 9-0. You're talking about 75 runs scored so far, too, tops in Major League Baseball. I think for teams like the Brewers and other small market teams, or even teams that operate within a budget, the Tampa Bay Rays are like the gold standard. Waiting for them to get that World Series, but how they operate, how they get things done, it's so impressive, especially when they play in the American League East. You've got, the Yankees in there this year. You got Toronto to mess with. Who knows what's going on with Boston and such. But nonetheless, studs. I'm going to put the Tampa Bay Rays on there easily. Hockey world, you got to put the Bruins on there. I mean, the Bruins now they secured the NHL record for single season victories. They entered the game the other day tied with the 95 and 96 Detroit Red Wings and the 2018-2019 Tampa Bay Lightning. But they got the win the other day, and they are now the first team in NHL history to post 63 victories in a singular regular season. Bruins have just been lights out, dominant throughout this entire season. 63 wins, 12 losses. So I'm putting the Bruins on there as my studs. Another stud I'm going to put up there, since we're talking hockey, let's throw the chip with steel in there. They clinched the playoff spots. So now they're going to be coming home. They got a couple regular season games left at home, but they have clinched a spot in the Robertson Cup playoffs. So congratulations to our good friends from the Chip with Steel. We're going to be catching up with them tomorrow. So we'll catch up with them coming up here tomorrow to go over everything with them. But fantastic first time in the franchise history that they're going to be going to the postseason too. So well done, studs there. I don't have really a whole lot for duds. The only dud that I have right now, I put Rudy Gobert on there. I put Rudy Gobert as our Monday morning quarterbacking. I put the kind of the Timberwolves, I guess, all together as our Monday morning quarterbacking. But I mean, come on, dude. You know, punch your teammates on the sideline in the huddle there. Dud. And then I'd put like Rory and JT, Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas, did you see that statistic? He was, first of all, he was my pick for the Masters. I don't know if anybody saw this statistic, but entering would have been the second round, he had like a 99% chance of making the cut. And he didn't. He didn't make the cut. So I guess you could put him on there too. But yeah, Rory, JT, those guys up there not making a cut. Kind of put them in the duds category, don't you? Just a little bit, just a skosh. So those are my studs and duds. Rest of you, if you have any more that you want to add on, you can send those babies on over with a quick text, 715-830-1912. We'll get to a little weekend hangover coming up in just a few minutes, kind of a new segment here, weekend hangover. But what's got you hungover from the weekend? Let's just put it that way. What's got you hungover from the weekend? Maybe it's something, maybe it's an event, sporting event, or a game, a player, a result, whatever. Or maybe you did something fun from the weekend and you just want to share it with the rest of the class. You can do so. Weekend hangover coming up here in just a second. Oh, the other stuff. I got to give a little shout. It's not sports related, but I will say this. Super Mario Brothers movie, not bad. Hutzy and Hutzy's in the studio right now because he doesn't have school. But we went to see it Friday afternoon. Not bad. It kind of exceeded my expectations. So I got to give it a little bit of a shout out. Travis, the Honorable Travis from A-Town told me too that this is a good soundtrack. He was right. A little 80s vibe to it. Love it. A lot of video game references if you grew up playing Mario Brothers. So I gotta give it a little shout out. Not bad. So quick update on the Twitter poll as we asked kind of our question of the day. What has surprised you the most? The dominant start from the bullpen or the offense so far? And right now it's okay, so our texts were more 50-50. Twitter poll is going more what I thought it would go. 70.8% of you going with the offense and just 29.2% of you going with the bullpen. So that's kind of more what I thought was going to go there, those particular numbers. So, but Mark, awesome event Friday. Thanks to all. Let's do it once a month? ? Oh, if we can get the boys or the team from Carpet City Flooring Center to do that once a month, it'd be pretty cool. We don't want to do it like the whole Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. Remember when that kind of came on with Regis and everybody was into it, everybody loved it. But it was like once in a while sort of thing. And then they started doing it all the time and everybody just flamed out from it. I think they still do that, don't they? I don't know. All right. I'll tell you what, let's take a really quick break and then we'll talk some more baseball. Taking a look at this series against Arizona. Got Wade Miley on the mound tonight, starting this West Coast trip. Let's hear some predictions. How many wins in these 10 games for the Brewers? 3 against the Diamondbacks, 4 against the Padres, 3 against Seattle. How many wins do you think is in store for the Brewers on this West Coast trip? Give me your predictions, Twitter, Facebook, video stream, or on that Shoe Doctors bullpen text line. We'll take that break and be back talking some more baseball after these few words. Spring cleaning is on the horizon for many of us, or maybe some of you are kind of ahead of the game already and getting some of that done. But if you're looking maybe to kind of get rid of some of your furniture, or maybe you got some leftover building supplies and other type of, like couches, recliners, that sort of thing, think about donating it to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. And the cool thing is about with the restore, you can schedule for a pickup. So they'll come and pick it up. Yeah, that's right. So there are pickup service options available. You can call or email Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore and submit a request, or find out some more info. Just head to cvh4h.org/restore. So pretty cool right there. So if you don't have the means to maybe drop off that couch or chair or piece of furniture at the restore, they've got pickup uh, pickup services for you too. So really cool. A lot of great things happening at the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. They're always looking too for some volunteers, whether it's volunteering at the restore or for some home builds. So they, I know I just saw just a few days ago, but getting ready for their interior build out at their Boyceville home. So doing a lot of things, a lot of great things for our community. Hey, speaking of some great things too, hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night at the Lismore for the Packers tailgate tour. Aaron Jones, Romeo Dobbs, Elton Jenkins, HaHa Clinton Dix, Eddie Lacy, Devon House, Mark Murphy, and such. Still some tickets available. You can also purchase them at the door, as we talked with Aaron from Bolton Refuge House on Friday. But this is all benefiting Bolton Refuge House, another tremendous local organization. So let's help them out there too. So hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow night at the Lismore for the first stop Packers tailgate tour, coming to Eau Claire. Let's again, reminder that we're doing the drawings for the putting thing. Carpet City Flooring Center will be doing that, so I'll let you know when that happens. So I'll let you know, and I'll see if they let us know who they are too, so I can pass it along out there for everybody else. So, all right, let's get back to some more baseball talk here. Brewers beginning a West Coast trip. Well, before we get to baseball talk here, I want to kind of go through some of the local stuff. I know we didn't have Justice Cleveland on. By the way, Justice Cleveland's birthday today. Happy birthday, Justice Cleveland. But, with this warmer weather now, hopefully we'll start to get some more of these games in and on schedule and such. But kind of looking at the scoreboard, baseball dropping a couple of games here against UW Oshkosh. Women's lacrosse, though, on the 8th, 23-0 win against Monmouth. So they've got quite the program there, and it's very early, just starting it up in the last couple of years there too. So men's tennis lost on the 7th as well. So looking at some upcoming games, we got kind of a slate coming up here today. Men's golf is going to be in action. Baseball's at UW Whitewater. Men's tennis going to be taking on Superior. Women's lacrosse also going to be going up against River Falls too. That's coming up today. And Surveyor's got to be. I'm surprised Surveyor didn't mention any of this, but UW Eau Claire Men's Rugby Club hosted the annual Ironman Sevens tournament this past weekend with 4 other UW system schools participating. So, Surveyor, were you checking that out? Did you check that out at all, or not? Did I actually beat Surveyor to a rugby thing? So just got to throw that out there. So, but just quick update there. I know we'll get Brandon on Friday to catch up on some of the local stuff and really do some preview on some of the prep sports and such coming up here too. But okay, baseball chat. Brewers beginning that West Coast trip against Arizona tonight. We're going to see Wade Miley back in action for the second time. After Wade Miley's start, every starter will have gone through 2 turns through the rotation for the Brewers. Taking a look at the matchups tonight, Wade Miley and against some of these hitters for the Diamondbacks here. Really, outside of Longoria, not a ton of experience. Evan Longoria's got 39 at bats against Wade Miley, hitting .256, 3 home runs, and 6 RBIs. After that, you're talking like a game's worth for the majority of people. So not a ton of experience. On the flip side, Brewers wise, going up against Gallagher, about a game or two worth for some of them. Yelich though, 375 and 8 at bats. And then Tellez, I mean, you're talking just 3 at bats, 333. So I mean, that's 1 for 3. Voigt is 5 at bats and 200. So not a ton of experience when you kind of take a look at these two lineups going up against their starting pitchers. But Wade Miley, can he kind of build upon, or can he repeat what he did in his first start of the season, where he went 6 innings, struck out 3, picked up the win, no earned runs? We know Wade Miley is a different type of pitcher. Brandon did a great job of explaining that on Friday with us. We talked about it last week after the game. You know, the exit velocities of the balls coming off the bat during Wade Miley's pitch. Not a lot of velocity coming off that bat. So it's a different style of pitcher. He's not going to, really go out there and put up double-digit strikeout numbers. If you're got to have a solid defense behind him too to make those outs. But I mean, if Wade Miley goes out there and puts up another strong outing, another solid outing, you got Freddie Peralta, who's off to a good start so far this year. He put up another solid outing yesterday. Brandon Woodruff already has a couple of quality starts under his belt. Corbin Burns is, his first 2 games. I don't think anybody's really panicking about Corbin Burns at this point. I hope nobody's really panicking about Corbin Burns. Probably a little bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people surrounding Corbin Burns' first 2 starts. But I think he's at least probably earned the benefit of the doubt. Let's see him in the next couple outings here and see if he can kind of get back to his Corbin Burns ways. But I'm excited for tonight to see if Wade Miley can kind of do the same thing he did in his first start. Because we mentioned it, or we talked about it last time, right, leading up to his start. He's kind of an interesting wild card for this starting rotation, especially now that we know Aaron Ashby is probably not going to pitch at all this year. I know Matt Arnold, the general manager for the Brewers, just said the other day that they're going to try everything that they can to get him back for September, maybe for a playoff push or something like that. But knowing that he's off the table, kind of thought maybe he'd be a starter. I know Adrian Hauser's kind of working his way back there too, but Wade Miley to me now is more of like an important figure for this starting rotation. Eric Lauer, I know he had a rough outing the other day. I think he's always kind of going to be like an up and down type of pitcher. But if we get the Wade Miley that we've seen when he is healthy the last few years, game on, baby. Game on. Let's do it. So I'm excited to see him back in action tonight, see if we get the same kind of version that we saw in the first outing there. I want to go back to Freddie Peralta here for a second, though. Speaking of wild cards, Freddie Peralta was he was one of the most popular picks in terms of wild cards. When spring training, before the season started, we were talking about, who's kind of like a wild card player or whatever have you. And Freddie Peralta was a very popular pick for a lot of people. And you look at his first 2 starts so far this year, he looks like the Freddie from a couple years ago when he was at All-Star. Last year, injuries derailed his season, but in his first 2 starts so far this year, he's looking pretty good. And if you kind of, after the game yesterday, he was asked about, kind of his heater, his fastball and such. And how about this nugget? Peralta, according to Adam McCulvey, Brewers.com, featured the best fastball velocity of any of his 69 career starts. Featured the best fastball velocity of any of his start before. This was yesterday. He lit up he went 6 innings, 102 pitches. He had a 95.4 mile per hour fastball, average four-seam fastball, and a max at 97.8. Career highs. Both career highs for Freddie Peralta. And this is coming off of that shoulder injury that nagged him last year. Setting career highs with that four-seam fastball. Peralta said after the game, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good about the routine that I'm doing. I have a training staff that is doing a great job for me. For me, health is number one. It's more of the same of what we've seen. Craig Counsell, this is from Craig Counsell. It's really more of the same of what we've seen since the first pitch he threw this spring. He's been dialed in. He's been great. It's been clearly different from how he had to endure most of the second half of last year. In a way, I'm not surprised because when he's doing well, this is what he looks like. Looking at some of these starters right now, and we don't know Wade Miley, as we just said, is going to be getting his second start here. But Peralta leads the Brewers with 14 strikeouts, 12 innings pitched, and a .75 ERA. Brandon Woodruff, right behind him, 12 strikeouts, .79 ERA. And both these pitchers, if you remember too, as we were saying with Peralta, but Woodruff too, were going through some injuries last year. So if these guys can stay healthy, we know what they're capable of. We know what these two guys are capable of. We know what Corbin Burnes is capable of. That's where I don't feel like we're going to get the Corbin Burnes from, what was it, when was that 2017, 2018, whatever it was, where like he ended up the season in the pitching lab because he was just throwing home runs and that. I don't feel like we're going to get that version. I feel like Corbin's going to turn it around. But these two guys are off to, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, off to two very good starts so far this year. Very good starts. And I'm most excited to see Freddie Peralta healthy and so far being pretty dominant. Pretty dominant on the mound. Health is going to be key for these starting pitchers, though, too, because you kind of look at it depth-wise, it's like, yeah, Adrian Hauser's getting there, and he can be a guy that can give you a spot start or two. But with no Aaron Ashby, you're kind of looking at it like, okay, maybe Ethan Small is a guy that can come up and give you some starts and such too. But health is going to be a big, big time important factor for this starting rotation for the Brewers. Looking at these 10 games on this road trip, 3 against the Diamondbacks, 4 against the Padres, 3 against the Mariners. I'm going to go, I think the Brewers take 7. I think they will go 2. No, yeah, they get 2 against their, no. Oh, I see, now I'm going back for it because I think they'll split against the Padres. And then if they split against the Padres, they got to sweep one of these. You know what? They'll sweep the Diamondbacks, split the Padres, take 2 out of 3 against the Mariners. How about that? 7 out of 10. They'll get 7 out of 10 on this. Then finally an off day on the 20th. There's no break in between these 10 games either. Straight up. 10 games. Then an off day on Thursday. A little travel day before they're back home against Boston on the 21st. Then they're at home for a while. You got 3 games against Boston, 3 games against Detroit. And then at the end of the month, if you want to see the Angels, a little Ohtani and a little Trout action there at the end of the month, that's also draft weekend. So you got that to look forward to. Before, again, they start a little bit of a road trip there into May, first part of May with Colorado and San Francisco. Then the Dodgers coming to town May 8th through the 10th. But what has surprised you the most with these first 9 games into the season with this Brewers team? Has it been the bullpen? Has it been the offense? Texting has been about 50-50. Twitter has been the majority of the offense. We've gone through the numbers here. Both are impressive. Both are very impressive. I went with the bullpen. I know I'm going to be in the minority for a lot of people. I went with the bullpen because outside of Devin Williams, we really didn't know what to expect or who was going to be in the bullpen. I mean, throughout the whole spring training, if you were looking at like roster predictions and projections, bullpen was always kind of still up in the air. Didn't know how it was going to play out. I kind of thought at the beginning of the year, would it be kind of a working out phase? Like it might be some highs and lows and ups and downs until they kind of figure out some roles, defining some roles with that bullpen. But the first 9 games, ever since that opening series and not allowing a run, even the other night, when Lauer didn't have his stuff and the Brewers were down 6-0, for the bullpen to come in and still not allow a single run after that, holding it down and still like, okay, we're not going to do any more damage. Maybe give our offense a chance to climb back into this thing. It was impressive. So I know I'm in the minority. There's no right or wrong answer in this, but I went with the bullpen for my pick. If you haven't had a chance to vote or chime in on that, you can hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or on the video stream, Facebook, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Whatever one floats your boat there. So again, tonight's first pitch, it's going to be late, 8:40. You can listen to that at 105.1 FM, 790 AM. If there is, from what I've been told, if there is any like scheduling conflicts between the Brewers and any Bucks games, Bucks games will air on our sister station, 95.9 Jams, 95.9 FM. So if you want to check that out over there, if there is any scheduling conflicts between Brewers and Bucks, Brewers will be on 105.1, 790 AM. Bucks will be on 11:50 AM, 95.9 FM over there, just in case anybody's wondering. That's what I've been told. So, okay, tell you what, let's take our final break coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So, last call on anything. I'm going to do my weekend hangover coming up after the break too. So we'll hit that up. Rest of you, if you want to participate in our new segment here, weekend hangover. What's got you hung over from the weekend? Put it in layman's terms. A little fun with this one. Send it on over. We'll cover some other bases as well. Are you starting to get a little bit more into draft mode now that the Masters is in the books? Baseball season's underway. NBA playoffs starting. Stanley Cup playoffs. Are you starting to kind of maybe get into it a little bit more? And I'm sure the diehards out there. And hey, I'm a draft diehard too, but I got to be honest with you. I haven't been fully into draft mode yet. I'm not there yet. I think it's just because a lot of other stuff has been going on. A lot of other good stuff's been going on. Brewers have been off to a fantastic start. The Bucks, #1 team heading into the postseason. So there's been stuff to kind of keep us preoccupied. We haven't had to keep, going back to all this Aaron Rodgers drama and no trade yet, or going down mock drafts and getting upset about mock drafts a month before this thing starts. We haven't had to do that. We haven't had to use that crutch. We've had a lot of stuff, good stuff going on with the Brewers and the Bucks. So I think that to me, and I love the draft. I freaking love the NFL draft. But there's been other stuff that kind of keeps us preoccupied, or has been keeping us preoccupied in a good way. So I think now that the Masters is over with, again, the Bucks going into the postseason, Brewers off to a good start, but baseball's into it for a week and change. I think this week is when I'm really going to kind of get into get the itch a little bit more for the NFL draft. That's when I think it'll start to hit. How about you? When do you start to really kind of get into it? Or maybe you already have. I know I'm a little bit later this year than normal years. I'll fully admit that. I mean, it's not to say that I haven't done any of the mock drafts and read anything out there. I've done that. But maybe not to the fullest extreme that I've normally done in the past. And maybe part of it, too, is just because I'm waiting to see what does happen with this Rodgers trade. if anything, happens before the draft. I still think it's a game of chicken and who's going to blink first. And if I had to make a guess, and it's just straight up a guess on who I think is going to blink first, I think it's going to be Green Bay. And I think it's going to be the sole notion of would they rather have a draft pick for this year or next year? If they want that draft pick this year, I think they blink first. If they're content on holding out on this thing and waiting, and then maybe getting a pick next year, then go for it. But that also runs the risks of, you know what, you send Aaron over there and Jets have a decent year, that pick may not be as high. That's just strictly a guess from me. But I just feel like it's a game of chicken on who's going to blink first. It's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. But at what point? When is it going to happen? All right, we'll take that final break. And then we'll do a little weekend hangover and then cover some bases. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Wrapping things up here on this Monday morning. Again, big thanks to everybody who has chimed in with a text, tweet, Facebook, video stream post, anything like that. My weekend hangover. What's kind of the thing that's been on my mind, or I like it's visualized in my mind from the weekend? I'm going a little bit of a different route on this thing because it's just like stuck in my mind. It's hung over from me from the weekend. Is this visual of T-Dub, of Tiger Woods at the Masters. Now Tiger did make the cut, extends that streak. He's extended that streak and such, but there was an image of him during that rain thing where, I mean, if you saw it on socials and such, but he looked like he was in some pretty rough shape. I mean, there was a clip of him, and if you haven't seen it, go Google it here. But it was painful to watch. I mean, he struggled. It was after he had, and just it almost looked like the leg locked up or a knee locked up or his back kind of locked up. You know what you guys know what I mean by that situation, right? But that's an image that has just been stuck in my mind, like all weekend, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, at one part, Phil, who's 52, finishes second, tied for second in the Masters at 8 under. Tiger is younger than Phil. Age-wise, body-wise, probably not. Probably not. But it's that image that has just kind of had me hung over from the weekend that I think this is the end of. I don't know. I'm a Tiger dude, and I want Tiger to get the major championships. I want him to get a couple more. I want him to be in contention and such, but just that image. And I know Augusta is more hilly than other courses and such, but I think I'm now finally coming down. There was always a small part of me that was like, okay, there's still a little bit of hope as long as Tiger's out there. Everybody says his swing's good, his game's good. It's just the walking. There's a chance. There's a chance he can do it. I mean, Freddie Couples is over 50. He made the cut too, but that image of Tiger really kind of struggling there for a second with that leg. He ain't gonna win again. He ain't gonna win again. He ain't gonna win a major championship again. I hope I am wrong. And I know a lot of people have been saying it for the last few years. There was a part of me that was still holding out some hope that he was going to get it done. I was blinded by the fact he's Tiger Woods. The fact he's out there is, as again, we were rehashing it with Dr. Crow on Friday, is remarkable. But he ain't going to win again. Not a major. I don't think it's going to happen. That's an image that is just seeing that clip has kind of like been playing in my mind the last couple days now. That's kind of gotten me hung over from the weekend. So that's my weekend hangover, is watching Tiger and kind of coming to the like that was like that to me was the gut punch. Like, oh, it's done. It's done. So answering somebody again, if you shoot a text, if you're comfortable, I don't want to force anybody, but hit me up with a name when you text, because I don't know some of these names on here. Some, if you're regulars, they're saved on there, but newbies, I don't have your names on it. But if you don't want to tell me your name, that's fine. Anyways, texter asking, what do you ultimately think that trade package will look like for Rodgers? I mean, if we go back to what Charles Robinson said from Yahoo Sports, was it about a couple weeks ago? Kind of the trade package that he was hearing, that second rounder this year for the Packers, and then Packers wanted a first rounder or want a first rounder in 2024. Whereas the Jets wanted that as a conditional pick. Packers don't want that as a conditional. They want it unconditional. They want a 2024 first. And then they would want to pick back in 2025, the Jets do, if Aaron decides not to play for more than a year. Ultimately, I think the compromise is going to be still a second round pick this year, one of the Jets' second round pick, whether it's the 42nd or the 43rd overall, whichever one. And then I think it will be a conditional pick in 2024. Packers, if we believe Charles Robinson's report, which Charles is a smart dude, Packers they want it unconditional. They want a first rounder. I think the compromise is going to be as a conditional. And with that compromise, the other compromise will be that the Packers won't send a pick in 2025 if Aaron doesn't play another year. So I think I think ultimately what's going to happen, 2024 second round pick, a 2023 second round pick this year's draft, and then 2024 conditional pick with those escalators. Like Jets make AFC Championship, they get a first rounder or something like that, whatever terminology they have for that. Kind of similar to the Favre one. I think initially it was a fourth round pick that they agreed to with Jets and Favre, and then the escalators, the conditions. I think it ended up being a third rounder. But like if they made the postseason, maybe it was it going to a second rounder if they got to championship or Super Bowl as first rounder, something like that. Ultimately, I think that's going to be the case. I think that's going to be the case here. So, but we'll see. I still think it's going to get done before the draft. I think it will. But if I had to make a pick on who I think is going to be, if anybody's watching a video stream, you're probably seeing Hudson right now. But if there was going to be a team that's going to blink first, I think it's going to be Green Bay. But we'll see. All right. Let's cover some of the other bases here, as we talked a little bit about earlier. Excuse me, I choked up a little bit there. I had to take a drink. Brewers starting their West Coast trip. First pitch tonight against Arizona. 8:40. It's going to be a little bit of a late night with these West Coast trip games. So 8:40. Wade Miley around his second start of the season. Play-in games for the NBA playoffs will start next week, or not next week, tomorrow. No games tonight. They will start tomorrow. We don't know who the Bucks play, but we do know when the Bucks will play. They play sometime this coming Sunday. Don't know a time yet. We just know that they will play on Sunday, and obviously we don't know who they're going to play yet. But if you're looking at the schedule for the play-in games tomorrow night, Atlanta, Miami, 6:30. And then the Timberwolves will take on the Lakers at 9 p.m. So those are the first games tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, you got the rest of the play-in games coming up there, which includes the Bulls and the Raptors. Bulls will be visiting the Raptors. That's at 6 p.m. And then Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. Then we'll kind of find out by Wednesday night, late Wednesday night, who the Bucks will be playing. So, what else do we got on the docket? Or what do we want? Yeah, we talked some Masters. Obviously, John Rahm getting the victory, getting the green jacket, his first green jacket, second career major. He has a U.S. Open under his belt. Brooks Koepka entered the day yesterday with the lead. John Rahm right behind him. John Rahm getting the victory. Koepka struggling a little bit. Phil and Spieth making that run to make things interesting. Koepka and Phil finishing tied for second. Spieth was 7 under. Phil and Koepka were at 8 under there. So yeah, John Rahm getting his green jacket. Intern Bob finally getting that pick right with John Rahm there. So, but like I was saying earlier, I think golf talent wise is in a good spot. The sport wise is in a good spot. Rating wise, is it as high as when Tiger's in contention? Probably not. But I would say there's more parity right now in golf than there has been in a while. I mean, when I was young growing up, it was Tiger versus the field, and everybody was taking Tiger. Now, John Rahm can win it. Scotty Scheffler can win it. Justin Thomas can win it. Rory McIlroy can win it. Brooks Koepka can win it. And Cameron Smith can win it. I mean, you got other dudes who are out there who can win it. Tony Finau. Is Tony Finau probably the next guy that everybody's just waiting to win his first major? You know, it's like, okay, who's the best golfer right now to not win a major? Who is that guy? Is it Tony Finau? I think it probably is. It's not Ricky Fowler anymore. Ricky Fowler's like relevant. I mean, you look at Tony Finau's finishes, his best finish tied for 5th in the Masters in 19. PGA Championship tied for 4th in 2020. US Open 5th in 2018. The Open 3rd in 2019. So would you say Finau is the next one up, like the best golfer to not have a major championship? I think it's Tony Finau. But again, the parity in the sport right now, I think is pretty awesome. But watching golf is an acquired taste. Just because people play it doesn't mean that they can sit there and watch hours of golf on TV. It's an acquired taste. And for some, they'd rather watch it if Tiger's in contention. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, coming up tomorrow, it is Tuesday, so we'll catch up with our good friends from the Steel after clinching their first playoff berth in franchise history. So we'll hit that up. Also, it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. So think about what's grinding your gears, and you can let us know. We'll hit that up tomorrow too. We'll catch up on all things Badgers with RJ Cardinal from the Zone in Madison, or station the Zone in Madison. Our Badger analyst RJ Cardinal. So we'll catch up with him. Obviously, recapping whether the Brewers picked up the victory tonight or not. How did Wade Miley look? Does the offense continue to put up some runs? Does the bullpen continue to shut down some people? So, and don't forget, let's start getting some NBA predictions in here, okay? You got the Bucks winning it all. How far do you have the Bucks going in this thing? So start sending me some of your predictions now that we kind of have a glimpse of what this playoff bracket looks like. Let us know what your picks are, okay? I got Bucks in 7 against Phoenix in a rematch in the NBA Finals from a couple of years ago. In 2021, as Hudson said, right there. So, but rest of you, let me know. Okay, shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds. So the rest of you have a fantastic Monday. Big thanks to everybody for chiming in, whether it was a text, tweet, Facebook, or whatever it may be. Appreciate you chiming in, making and giving us your picks. Don't forget, we'll have some time left on that Twitter poll too. What has been the biggest surprise for you so far for this Brewers team, 9 games in? The bullpen shutting people out, or has it been the offense so far? DP and the Dance, they're up next. Again, have a good rest of your Monday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6 a.m. Chat with you all then.